economics with continuation of the chapter. We are on page number 22, understanding economic development, chapter 2. Now I'm starting from this paragraph. Remember, there is one precaution one has to take. Every goods that is produced and sold needs to be counted. It makes sense only to include the final goods and services. Now, for example, a farmer who sells wheat flour mill for rupees 8 per kg, the mill grind the wheat and the flour to biscuit company for 10 per kg, and the biscuit company uses the flour and the things such as sugar and make 4 packets of biscuit, and it sells biscuit in the making to the consumer for rupees 60 in the market to the consumer for rupees 60 rupee, and that is rupees 15 per packet biscuit as a final good, that is goods that reach the consumer. Why are only final goods and services counted? Contrast to final goods such as wheat and the wheat flour in this example are intermediary goods. Well, intermediate goods are used up in producing final goods and services. The value of final goods already includes the value of intermediate goods they are used in making the final good. Hence, the value of rupees 60 for the biscuit final good already includes the value of flour. Similarly, the value of all intermediate goods would have to be included. That would have been included. To count the value of flour and wheat separately is therefore not correct, because then we would be counting the value of the same thing a number of times. First as wheat, then as flour, and finally as biscuit. So the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides a total production of the sector for that year. So this is a very technical thing. It is useful for controlling the double accounting. So what is happening in this example? I am making table for you for this. So this is the example that can be expressed in the terms of table. So there was a farmer and he sold out wheat rupees 8, and then after selling it out, any intermediate goods he is having. Intermediate goods means he has purchased something from someone else to making this wheat. So farmer has sold wheat, and here it has been supposed that nothing has been purchased from any other person. This is all the value added, this is all the contribution, this is all the production by the farmer, wholly solely by the farmer. So 8 rupees, the flour of 8 rupees he has been sold on. Fine, no intermediate goods because nothing he has been purchasing. Now this 8 rupees sale will be the final good for farmer from the side of farmer. Now the farmer sold this 8 rupees quantity of wheat to mill. So this manufacturer grind this wheat and just make the flour. So here he has been purchased for 8 rupees. So this the sale of farmer, and this become the purchase of this mill. Now mill has sold the flour to biscuit company 10 rupees. So this is the sale price of mill. But this is with the mill that he has been purchased 8 rupees flour from 8 rupees wheat from farmer. So his contribution is of rupees 2, because 8 rupees he has been purchasing, the quantity of 8 rupees has been purchasing from the farmer. So intermediate goods here is this 8 rupees. This 8 rupee is the intermediate goods. This is not the contribution of mill. Mill has contributed only 4 rupees too, because 8 he has been purchasing from the farmer. So this is the intermediate goods which should not be added. Otherwise, if you will add 8 rupees contribution from the farmer side and again 8 rupees contribution from the mill side, then it will be 16 and it will be double. But what is actually happening? Only rupees 8 wheat has been produced by the farmer, and then that has been sold to the mill. So a mill has been sold the product of rupees 10. So out of 10, 8 has been purchasing from farmer. So this is intermediate goods, and his contribution is of only 2 rupees. So 8 rupees I am just writing out in the intermediate goods. So this is the intermediate goods from the mill side, and contribution final goods he has been contributed actually, that is 2 rupees. Now mill sold the this particular floor to the biscuit company of rupees 10, and biscuit company purchased. So this is the sale of mill and this is the purchase of same thing has been purchase of the biscuit company. Now biscuit company sold out all these things and making biscuit of rupees 60. So 10 is the cost given over there, so and 60 has been the price of biscuit or the quantity that has been made by this biscuit company out of this all these materials. So from the 60, 10 has been purchased from mill. So contribution of biscuit company will be 50 only. That is the final goods, and 10 rupees is the intermediate goods for biscuit company. Intermediate goods are those goods which has been purchased from someone for making the final product. That is the intermediate goods. Definition can come. What do you mean by the intermediate goods? Intermediate goods are the goods which has been purchased from someone for making the final good, that used in making the final good. These are the intermediate goods, and they are not counted while counting the total production by producer. Fine. So now by adding up all these things, what we get? Intermediate goods total 18 means 18 rupees. All these producer purchase 18 rupees production from someone else or from each other. Then the final goods have been produced for 60 rupees, right? And then total sale they have been made for 78. Intermediate goods and purchase, they both are same. Definitely intermediate goods and purchase, they both are same. If you are talking about purchase, you have made the purchase, you have done the intermediate goods, they both are the same thing. Fine. Now for if you want to calculate in this way, then you will get 60 rupees product has been made, so you will take the value of 60 rupees, or you can take the individual contribution, 8 from farmer, 2 from mill, and biscuit company contributed for 50, and altogether they made product of 60 rupees. So that you can take 60 rupees. Otherwise you have formula for this: sale minus intermediate goods. So say 78 is the sale and intermediate goods is of 18. Intermediate and purchase are the same, and then you will get the final good of rupees 60. You can calculate the things in both the ways, in this way or in this way. Fine. So if you will deduct intermediate good from the total sale, then you will get final good. Otherwise you can add up the value added by farmer, value added by mill, value added by biscuit company. You can add up all these things and you will get 60 rupees total product that has been produced. If you will add up all the sale, then it will be 78, and there is a double accounting in that, because actual the goods have been made for 60 rupees. So you have to deduct all the purchase that has been made by these producer. So from 78 I have just subtracting all the purchases made by these producer, that is 18, and I am getting the final value, that is 60 rupees. So here the 60 rupees is the final value. So what is to be concluded out of that? That is concluded that only the value addition made by all the farmer, all the producer, that is to be counted. Only the value addition by all the producer, that is to be counted. No intermediate goods should be added back or should be added while calculating the contribution, while calculating the production of final goods and services in the economy. Fine. With continuation of the paragraph, the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides a total production of the sector of that year. Or you can say the sum of the production of in the three sectors gives Y is called the gross domestic product. So this is the definition of gross domestic product. Very easily and very important can be asked that what do you mean by the gross domestic product? The value means you will converting final goods and services into some value. You are giving the monetary value. Here you are giving the monetary value. And final goods and services means you are not adding intermediate goods into that in each sector, and you will do this in each sector. No favor for any sector. For every sector only the contribution or value addition is to be made, is to be taken, not the intermediate goods. What intermediate goods are which type of goods? But what they have been purchasing from someone for making the final product. So that is not to be included. So again I am just reading this for you. The value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of the sector for that year. This is the complete definition. Now the sum of production in the three sector gives Y is called the gross domestic product. This is the gross domestic product of a country. It is the value of all final goods and services produced within the country during a particular year GDP, that is gross domestic product, shows how big the economy is. So if one country is having more GDP than other, that means the economy of the country which is having more GDP, bigger economy comparatively other. So GDP represent your size of your economic development can be known with the help of GDP. So how GDP helpful? Here the question said that why GDP is calculated and how GDP is helpful. GDP is helpful to know the economic development, to know the how big is the economy, how big the country can, how big the economy a country can have, and it is about the development of the economy. Greater the GDP, greater the development. In India, the mammoth task of measuring GDP is undertaken by central government ministry. This ministry, with the help of various government departments of all the Indian state and union territories, collect information related to total volume of goods and services and their prices, and then estimate the GDP. So it is very lengthy process, and it's a basically this task is undertaken by central government ministry. So here the question arises that who measure the GDP, that is the central government ministry, with the help of various government departments, state and union territories, which collect the information relating to total volume of goods and services and their prices, and then estimate the GDP. So this is the answer of the question, that how all the goods and services, value of all the goods and services calculated and by which department. So this is the answer of this question, from this to this. Now, historical change in sector. Generally, it has been noted from the histories of many now developed countries that at initial stage of development, primary sector was the most important sector of economic activity. So out of all these sectors, primary sector is very important, that we came to know. Now, from this paragraph, it means historical change. As the method of farming changed and agriculture sector began to prosper, it produced much more food than before. Many people could now take up other activities, and they were increasing number of craft person and traders. Buying and selling activities increased many times. Besides, there were also transporters, administrator, army, etc. How at this stage most of the goods produced were natural products from the primary sector, and most people were also employed in this sector. So it has been said in this paragraph that in the agriculture sector or in the rural area, definitely agriculture is the prime occupation, but many other activities have been carried on by the people over there. That is, you can say craftsmanship, that is they are joining transporter business, administration, army, and other type of like fisheries, hatcheries, all these things, all these activities are done over there with the agriculture. Now, over a long time, more than 100 years, and especially because new method of manufacturing were introduced, factories came up and started expanding. Those people who had earlier worked on farms now began to work in factories in large number, and they were forced to do so. As read in history chapter, people began to use many more goods that were produced in factories at cheap rates. Secondary sector gradually became the most important in total production and employment. Hence, over time, a shift had taken place. This means that importance of sector had changed. So earlier, the primary sector was very important, but with the change of time, with the change of new techniques, with the more investment, now secondary sector is also having importance, because now the people are employing in secondary sector also. Fine, in the factories they are producing goods and services at cheapest rate. So this is the thing. Now, in the past 100 years, there has been a further shift from secondary to tertiary sector. So in this paragraph, you have just read out that shift from agriculture or primary sector to secondary sector. Now, in the past 100 years, there has been a further shift from secondary to tertiary sector in developed countries. The service sector has become the most important in terms of total production. Most of the working people are also employed in service sector, and this is general pattern observed in developed countries. So that is happening in developed country. There the question arises that in developed country, which sector is having more importance regarding the GDP or regarding the total production of goods and services in the economy? Then you will say it is a tertiary sector. Now, why is the total production and employment in the three sector in India? Over the year, have there been changes similar to the pattern observed for the developed country? So they are saying that in India is also a developing economy, and they are the changes you have find in the same way as you are observing in developed countries. We shall see in the next section. In the next section, they will discuss the table data given by the ministries, given by the statistical department. So here is the table for primary, secondary and tertiary sector in India. Graph 1 show the production of goods and services in the three sectors. This is shown for 2 years 1973-74 and 2013-14. You can see how the total production has grown up over the 40 years. Now, this is the diagram over there in which you are having 2 years. This is basically the bar diagram, 1973-74 and 2013-14, and blue line represent for primary, red secondary and the green tertiary sector. Now this is the GDP by all these sector, rupees in crore. This is the GDP, and there are two x and y's bar. In the bar diagram we are showing the diagram in this way. Now you can see that less contribution by all the three sectors, and then the contribution arises by all the three sectors. So that means it shows the growth. I told you that if gross domestic product, if total production of goods and services increases, that indicates there is a growth in the economy. Now there is a growth. It is the all the data for India. So there is a growth in the economy. Primary sector contribution increases, then secondary, then tertiary. All the three sector contribution has been increasing. So that indicates growth. Now, which is having the more out of the sector? That is green. That means tertiary sector is having the more contribution in terms of GDP in 2013-14. So same that has been discussed in the earlier paragraph, that tertiary sector contribution has been increasing in the developed country, and same it is happening in the developing country also, because you are seeing the growth over there. Fine. So with the growth, when the economy is growing, then which sector is contributing more in the, as per the data available? That is the tertiary sector. Fine. Here no need to learn the data exactly like this. You have no need to learn the data exactly, but you should know the trend that in 73-74 which sector is having the more contribution? That is the primary sector, because this that you can say the area is more. And in this case, which sector is 2013-14? Which sector is contributing more? That is the tertiary sector. The trend can be asked. Contribution by all the sector has been increasing from 1973 to 2013-14. You will say yes, the contribution has been increased. And which sector? That you can tell easily. That can be asked. But no need to learn the data here. Right? Now, that is the why there is a because there is a lots of changes occurred between the 1973 and 2013. Between these years there are lots of changes, 40-year difference is there. So now with more more industrial policy, new industrial policy adopted over there, then new technique has been adopted between these years. So in these 40 years, so due to the development in the 40 year, you will get this result with the maximum contribution by primary, secondary and tertiary, and out of this tertiary sector is developing too far from or too much from, or you can say more than primary and secondary. Now, rising importance of the tertiary sector in production. So as you have noticed that there is a rising contribution by tertiary sector, that has been discussed over there. Over the 40 years between 1973-74 and 2013-14, while production in all the three sectors has increased, it has increased the most in the tertiary sector. As a result, in the year 2013-14, the tertiary sector has emerged as the large producing sector in India, replacing the primary sector. So there are two questions has been arising over there. That is, in 2013-14, which sector has emerged as the largest producing sector? You will say tertiary sector. And it has replaced which sector? It has replaced primary sector, because earlier in 1973 it was primary sector whose contribution was more comparatively other sector. Now, why is the tertiary sector becoming so important in India? There could be several reasons. So here you can get the question. So why tertiary sector is becoming so much important in 2013-14? In which year tertiary sector become so much important? That is after 1973, with the growth of 40 years, up to in 2013-14 tertiary sector becomes so important. Even now the contribution by tertiary sector is more than other sector. Now the first reason is why it is so important, because first in any country, several services such as hospitals, education institution, post, telegraph services, police stations, court, villages, administrative offices, municipal corporation, defense, transport, bank, insurance, all these are activities of economic activities of tertiary sectors are required. These can be considered as a basic services. Now in a developing country, the government has to take responsibility for the provision of these services. So with the introduction of these services, definitely services has been increased, because the activities has been increased for the tertiary sector. Definitely services has been increased, and then the contribution by the tertiary sector automatically will be increased. So this is the first reason, that is the now the tertiary sector services become the basic necessary basic services for the economy. Secondly, the development of agriculture and industry leads to the development of services. So because there is a increase in the contribution by agriculture and you can say primary and secondary sector, agriculture and industrial sector. So with the development of agriculture and industrial sector, definitely it give the gear to the tertiary sector. Tertiary sector also increase with the development of these two sectors, and because all these sectors are interdependent, Now the transport, trade, storage, these are all again the activities of tertiary sector, and the like we have already seen. Greater the development of the primary and secondary sector, more would be the demand for such services. Such services means more would be the demand for tertiary sector services. Third, as income level rises, certain section of the people start demanding many more services like eating out, tourism, shopping, private hospital, private schools, professional training, etc. So if all the production made by all the sector has been increasing, and now the contribution by all the sector has been increases, so definitely the income also increases with the development of all these three sectors. So definitely it increases the income of all the people, and people start to demand tertiary services over there. These are included in tertiary services. So with the increase in demand of tertiary services, definitely the production will be more. So production of this also increases the production of services in tertiary sector. So that has been said that in this paragraph, that if your income rises, then you will start to demand all these activities, and then definitely production of services will be more in all these activities, and these are activities related to tertiary sector. Now the fourth, over the past decade and so certain new services such as those based on information and communication technology, this is also included in tertiary sector, have become important and essential, and the production of these services has been rising rapidly. In chapter 4 we shall see example of these services, new services, and reason for their expansion. Chapter 4 is basically related with the new industrial policy. With the adoption of new industrial policy, that is basically the industrial policy that has been adopted in 1991, due to the adoption of new industrial policy, by that time definitely it increases the value of information technology, and this particular sector developed too much and demanded too much all over the world. So that is why with the increase in the demand of the technology, definitely definitely there is a production of all these services, and it includes the contribution in GDP by the tertiary sector. However, you must remember that not all of the service sector is growing equally well. Definitely all the activities in service sector is not growing equally. Definitely IT is very important, that has developed too much. Service sector in India employs many different kind of people. At one end there were a limited number of services that employ highly skilled and educated worker, and he is talking about lawyers, doctors, teachers, and now he is talking about IT. So all these includes very highly professional people, and at the other end there are very large number of workers engaged in services such as small shopkeepers, repair person, transport person, etc. So these are the services which there the expert skill or highly qualification is not required, like shopkeeper, repair person, transport person. So these people barely manage to earn a living, and yet they perform these activities, their services, because no alternative opportunities for the work are available to them. So hence only a part of this sector is growing is in importance. You shall read more about this in next section. So they are saying that note all the people who are in tertiary sector, their income has been increased. It is not to be tagged that all the services, all the activities included in tertiary sector, they are just gaining and their income has been increased. The people involved in tertiary sector, the income has been increased. You should not tag it, because only those people who are highly qualified, who are professional, their income has been increased in this sector. But the people who are not having such a skill, they are to struggle in this particular field, and their income is not increases up to the mark. Fine. So that has been discussed over there. So you cannot say that all the activities included in tertiary sector and their contribution to GDP increasing in a large extent. Some of the services, like especially I'm talking about IT sector, that has been developed too much. So all the professional, like you know very well, computer engineer is having high demand, and IT sector is having high demand, data analyst having high demand now. So all these sector has been increased to a large extent. For example, professor, and then you can say lawyer, doctor, and all these services which needs expert knowledge. So their contribution definitely has been increased, but not all the people who are involving in this tertiary sector. Fine. So that question can be asked that you can say that all the people who are involved in tertiary sector, all the people who are involving in there, and all the employment are involving in there, all the activities which are involving in tertiary sector, their income, their contribution has been increased. No, all the activities has in the tertiary sector has not been increased up to the mark, and there you can give the answer from this paragraph. Fine.